Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today is an exciting one as I have a 5 kilometer time trial. So for those that don't know, at the moment I'm training for the Outlaw Full Distance Triathlon, potentially with a hybrid twist to honour exactly 1 year since the 500 pound squat and sub 5 minute mile in the same day. So watch this space, watch this space. This kind of isn't the most optimal way to be training a week and a half out from a full distance triathlon, but I've got a threshold run booked in today and I thought for the sake of just seeing where I am with this, I'd make it a 5 kilometer time trial with some threshold reps afterwards. So to bear in mind, I've got a lot of training under my belt. I've had a peaking session on my squats and deadlifts yesterday. I'll put the videos on the screen for you here so that you can see how incredibly awful these felt. Loads of fatigue built up, probably a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of peaking, so just going to really taper down that weight training into the Outlaw now. But also had a threshold bike ride last night, so my legs aren't exactly fresh. Look at me making excuses already, but I've got a pretty good estimate of what I want to get done today, so I'm going to keep that to myself in case I am miles off. But I'm feeling pretty sharp at the moment. I haven't been on a track for a little while, but I'm excited to, because it just makes pacing so much easier. You can really lock in on what you've got left and you don't need to worry about crossing, looking at lights, stopping for cars, all this stuff. But with that in mind, I'm going to crack on because, as I've said, 1.5 weeks out from the Outlaw, not loads of free time at the moment, need to get things sorted, need to get this done. Let's see how I get on, and I will give you a running commentary as we go. Three, two, one. So what I'm going to do here is just run you through how this went in real time. I sort of went in today with a bit of an expectation for an 18:30 pace, so shot for that from the get-go. Actually wanted to have my watch set up so I had it in 400 meter splits because I knew that around the 1:30 mark was what I was shooting for. It didn't set it up that way, so I was having 1 kilometer lap times, but I did have my predicted 5k time on the watch, and it came in pretty much exactly bang on when I crossed the line 12.5 laps later, so that's pretty good. GPS Garmin, good work, good work. But I say again, had a bit of fatigue in my legs. I had a 200 kilo double on back squat and then a 200 kilo double on deadlift for a couple of sets each, and they felt dreadful on Monday. So this being only 2 days after that shows that sort of there was a lot of built up fatigue that I was dealing with, which meant that when I was warming up I felt a little bit sluggish, a little bit heavy, and wasn't all that confident going into this, and honestly kind of thought about sacking it off and just saving it until another day. But once I got my heart rate up, once I got a bit of blood pumping, I felt pretty solid, and once we got going I actually started to settle into a decent pace. A little bit ahead of pace here, as you can see. My first lap came in at 1:18, and for those that don't know, a 5k on a track is 12.5 laps. So that is 1:18 there. We're going to speed this up for the next sort of 2.5 minutes through to the final little stretch. But all in all, I was pleased with how this went. I mean, as I've said, for context, I am at this point about 11 days out from full distance triathlon with a hybrid twist. Mysterious, I know. But the real intention here was normally on Wednesdays I tend to have some sort of faster threshold work on my feet. And I thought, for the sake of a video, for the sake of a bit of fun, and because it was nice weather, why not test my 5k and then do a little bit of threshold work afterwards? Obviously, I didn't actually do the threshold work afterwards because I was absolutely ruined, but nonetheless, this counts. Average heart rate of about 186, I think it was in the end, so it was above threshold, but it was kind of where I needed it to be, but close enough. So anyway, start to feel really solid here. About lap 4 or 5, I was starting to get into that mental process of wondering how on earth I'm going to see this through if I feel like this at this point. And you start playing those head games, and whenever you're on a track, whenever you're doing this sort of event, you are faced with a choice at some point. You have the choice to scale it back and fall short of the ambition that you set yourself for the day, or you take the choice to just sort of suffer through it and chew the stem and see where you get to. And obviously I chose the latter, as I'm quite well conditioned to doing that at this point, but it's a case of just learning and knowing over time that when you do make that decision, you've got it in you to get there, and having faith that the work you've done, the sort of conditioning you built up will get you over that line. It might not be exactly what you want, it might be a little bit short, it might be a bit disappointing, but the main thing that matters is that you give everything that you have on the day, relatively speaking, and that's what I did here. So was pleased with the result in the end, but wasn't the most specific thing for my current training goals. Generally speaking, I've just been keeping my strength as high as I can whilst conditioning a little bit more to faster, flatter full distance triathlon. For those who don't know, full distance triathlon is an Iron Distance Triathlon, but Ironman is just a brand. They don't actually own the distance. hence why I'm not calling it an Ironman, because they might sue me as well, because it's not. But the distance is 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike and 26.2 mile run, or 3.8k swim, 180 kilometer bike and 42.2k run. So I have a decent, fast, flat, not too much elevation race on the 25th of July, the Outlaw Full Distance Triathlon. And that's where all my training has been focused on at the moment. So a lot more swimming technical work, because I wasn't too pleased when I swam at the Keltman. Haven't made enormous progress in the time since then, to be honest, but in the right direction.
Last one.
Oh, we're on to the last lap here. So there we go. I'm going to let this run out just because I don't have much more left to say. But just whilst I'm coming around this corner, probably just worth mentioning that, yeah, my training goals at the moment have not been specifically aligned to 5k training, so I was pleased with this result in the end. But the intention off the back of this, my next big effort, is a full distance, best effort triathlon on the 25th of July. So do keep an eye out for the video. Thank you again for all your love and support. Please do remember to like the video and subscribe down below. I'm going to say that again at the end, but a bit of deja vu for you here. This is me coming through to the finish, so enjoy.
Job done. So I've obviously spoken over that whole thing with it sped up, so I don't know what I'm going to say in the future, so this might be repetition, but I'm pleased with that. The goal that I didn't reveal beforehand, so not to apply pressure, was 18:30, 18:26, and it's been a while since I've held sort of close to zone 5. Actually, what was my average heart rate? Average heart rate was 186. Good lord. So I was working there, that was tough, but it was nice to just put myself in the bin again, because it's been a while since I've done that. I was working very hard on the bike last night. My squats and deadlifts at 200 kilos yesterday were not what they were meant to be, so definitely some fatigue there, so that's really encouraging, because it means I might be able to push closer to 18 if I was tapered, if I was fresh, but that is not relevant to what I'm training for at the moment. So this was just a bit of fun. Back to triathlon focused work. I've got a heavy bench press tomorrow morning, which is my last heavy work before the Outlaw. I've got a full distance swim in a sleeveless wetsuit in the sea, just to get used to that extra mobility, and without having gloves on, because you're allowed them in the Keltman, but they kind of act as a bit of drag, so I want to get used to not having that. But other than that, that is it for today. I hope I've covered everything that I needed to in speaking over it. If you've got any questions about training, about how I'm approaching things at the moment, about this specifically, do drop them down below. If you haven't already, do like the video, and if you haven't already as well, hit subscribe. I literally see no reason why you can't do that. Just take your finger, scroll, click, done. Thank you very much, much appreciated. Thank you for watching, see you next time.